Passing through the veil of mystery, seeking answers no one is brave to ask. This is Bound to Truth.
Hey everybody, this is Chris Lopez from Mountain Truth. Today you're going to listen to an episode regarding my interview with Kathleen Tedder. She has some great experiences both in the Bigfoot field as well as the extraterrestrial, interdimensional, and paranormal beings too. That can be connected or not connected at all. But I think the interview is very fascinating, definitely worth a listen. It's definitely a long interview, so I made it a two-parter. Definitely worth listening to, and love to get your theories and thoughts involved in that. And how to get your theories and thoughts, please email me at boundtruth34@gmail.com, as you can see here on this tag on this video, as well as Buzzsprouts, Spotify, YouTube, X, Facebook, Amazon, and other platforms that you do listen to. And definitely the platform is yours, and I also would love for everybody to, in addition to this, is definitely would love your donations. This helps the platform get bigger. It definitely helps me to reach out more to other people who would love to share the stories and keep this platform going for people to definitely share their experiences and open up about what's going on in their lives, not just about what, like I said before, what they've seen and experienced, but what it's done to them personally. Something that's very important to me in my heart, to then share that out and talk about that is a great, normal human conversation. And at the end of the podcast, I definitely have a great sponsor commercial for you from a friend of mine named Matt Morgan with M3, Mind Movement Manifest. Definitely listen to the end of that. He's got some great things going on. He's got a great movement that's happening to help people, not just physically, but spiritually and mentally as well, to become more enhanced versions of themselves that I think you really enjoy. Again, thank you for listening, and see you on the other side. Talk to you later.
Hey everybody, welcome to Bound to Truth. I am Chris Lopez, of course. You've heard me say my name many, many times. Hope you have it memorized. Or now I think my last name is going to change to Lopex because there's a misstep on a typo with the text of somebody, but I kind of like Lopex. Sounds like a rock band name. Anyways, I have a very awesome guest today, Kathleen Tedder, right? Is Tedder? Did I say it right, Tedder?
Yep.
Perfect,
Correct.
perfect. And so she's on today to really talk about a lot of her experiences of a multi-angle of different things that I think you're going to find very quite interesting. Very similar from my guests that I've had with Randy Bauer and Gary White. And so she sent me some pretty interesting clips and films too, which is pretty amazing, I gotta say, from firsthand. I've seen videos on TikTok and YouTube, and you don't know how many hands those get exchanged when it comes to people with filming and so forth, but to get things firsthand from somebody is pretty special. And so I want to welcome Kathleen. Thank you for being on. How are you doing this morning, and where are you abouts on this planet Earth here?
I'm in a 5-acre area of magic.
Nice.
It's my opinion, when I first put my feet on the ground here, I said sacred land instantly.
Perfect.
And then I babysit a horse and a donkey here for a month, a couple years ago. And then, anyway, I've worked my way into getting blessed with 5 months of living here and caring for the property. And every time I've come, I've had ET experience. I've had Sasquatch experience. I've had just amazing things that have happened here. So I'm kind of blessed. So I'm in a place in Florida. I don't know if I should say the town. I don't know why not.
No. It's up to you. I kind of felt bad putting the spot where specifically I don't want people to treat it like what do you call it? Skinwalker Ranch or anything like that. So it's all what your comfort level is.
Yes, the owner was going to have it investigated by I was hoping for Maria with Mid Florida Bigfoot Society, because she's such a and she's not too far from here. And then we were going to have somebody else, but she got very ill and we just postponed it. And that was like a year ago.
Oh,
So
really?
we think now we need to keep it quiet. For
Yeah.
some reason, there's a reason for everything that happened. So we have this place, and I am bringing a few people in as I can.
No, no, totally understandable. And I do have some future questions around that later, especially with a lot of things you're talking about. It's like, you know, the Wizard of Oz, Lion, Tigers, and Bears, oh my, you got a bunch of everything. It's not just one particular thing. It's there's some type of special something happening there. I don't know what the best words to put it. You would probably have better words than I would. But before we get into that, I want to kind of just get a little bit of your origin story. You know, you obviously know Gary White. Gary White was very kind enough to invite to introduce me to him. Thank you, Gary, for that. And just want to kind of get your little origin story, how you connected with Gary, and just kind of just go with the flow and ask big questions in between, and then go what you want to share.
I can't remember how far back Gary and I have been Facebook friends and have talked years, many years. We had a lot of things in common with his experience and mine, and my experience with Jimi Hendrix, and some of those things that sort of came into the music scene that connected.
That's awesome, Jimmy. Oh, wow, that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah, he was my friend from 14 till 18 when he went to the UK and
Wow.
wherever.
Well, I am jealous of that. I feel like I'm an old soul. I like the older music, you know, like AC/DC and Kiss and Zeppelin and all that. I mean, I'm a musician myself, so big lover of that stuff. So
I actually watched you and Charlie's interview last couple days.
Oh, did you?
So yeah, I don't know if I shared it. I might have.
He's a good he's a great friend and a great dude, and just he's very insightful. He's a very inquisitive mind, just like me. I think he's more dialect better than I am at times. But anyways, go ahead. So continue on. I'm hijacking the interview. Go ahead.
Well, anyway, like I said, I don't remember. I think maybe Gary and I might have either been on craft at some point together, or possibly past life friends, or family. Who knows? But we bonded a long time ago. I can't even remember. Maybe 2016, 17, way back. So
you know what? Sometimes it's good to have a little mysterious story, right? So with that, let's talk about your experiences. When did they start? What's kind of just been gone? What's got you started on this path? Has it something you've approached yourself, or is it something that just kind of just happened to you? A little bit of both. Go ahead and elaborate.
A little bit of both. When I was 4 years old, I was in Alaska. My parents were musicians and they were working one night, and Alaska had a horrible storm outside. And to be honest, I was 4 and pretty bright. I could remember even earlier than 4, but 4 has a couple special memories for me.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, lightning, thunder. I woke up from my sleep and I'm terrified just from the noise and the lightning and whatever. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden, a beautiful glowing lady with long red hair and the biggest green eyes and just a glow about her was standing in my doorway and sort of floated over and sat on the bed beside me and took my hand. And she goes, "Why are you afraid?" And I don't know what I said. I don't recall. And I don't think we were using words. I think it was telepathy at that point. As I look back and I've had a little QHHT, to have memories opened on that. Mm-hmm. Anyway, when she took my hand, she said, "Look," and she did a little thing with her hand, a little movement, not snapping a finger, but something. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden the room lit up so bright that it hurt my eyes. I could barely see. It took a little bit to see. And when I could see, there were thousands, it looked like to me as a little girl, maybe just hundreds, but every inch of space in my bedroom had a being, different beings, little people, big people, Sasquatch beings, grays. I can't even recall the many beings, and they were all smiling and giving me love. And I felt that so strong. I mean, it was like, maybe she took me to their dimension. Maybe she opened all the dimensions. I'm not sure.
Wow.
But I never forgot that. Anyway, they were all there giving me love, just radiating love. I remember there are flying monkeys, There are flying monkeys, and I love that. And little people that are adults, but they're like barely 2 feet tall, but
Interesting.
yeah. Anyway, those are the things that I never forgot, but I never told anybody
Wow.
until later when I became within and looked within and started realizing that every little thing that did happen to me wasn't put in a separate category, that it's all in the paranormal range.
Mm-hmm.
And I was thinking ghosts mean one thing, ET means one thing, psychicness means one thing, but come to find out, it's the consciousness. It's, should I say, the Godhead?
No,
It's that we all can go to and be at, and where all the beings are at
no,
times.
and you know what, that is actually really fascinating. It kind of, I think about all the fairy the stories you hear about trolls. You talk about fairies. You talk about leprechauns. You talk about, I mean, look at like Lord of the Rings, Hobbits, those type of things. So it's definitely not something far fetched. And one thing you kind of triggered me a little bit on memory wise is, I don't know if you heard of Chris Bledsoe and his story back, I think in the 60s or 70s. And you mentioned a lady, right? And so
Yes.
when you said this lady appeared to you, I kind of thought, that's interesting. That's first time I heard it from Chris Bledsoe. I've really heard from other people, but I heard it from you the second time. And some people incorporate, was that the Virgin Mary? Those, we always title things. We were trying to understand it. So, yeah, what's your thoughts on that? I mean, has that crossed your mind a little bit? Are you familiar with the story of Bledsoe?
I first read his book as soon as I heard of it way back at the beginning. I read it twice, and then
Yeah.
I watched every video I could find of him, because yes, the lady had a glow, but
Mm-hmm.
when she came closer to me and sat with me, I could see the long, beautiful red hair. I had to put my fingers in it and touch it. Wavy, beautiful, just beautiful. She was so beautiful.
Wow.
When I hear of these other beings now, as I'm much older and wiser and done a lot more research, I thought to myself, I wonder if she was Pleiadian. And then I thought, well, maybe she's just angelic, or maybe maybe she's just interdimensional. I don't know, but
Right.
what a blessing. I never forgot it. And I kind of, after she did that for a few seconds, she kind of gave me it's okay now, you can go back to sleep, everything's good, and she just kind of floated back out and disappeared. And I did lay down, and I never forgot it. I woke up in the morning thinking, oh my goodness,
Wow.
I need a fairy godmother, kind of is what I thought. But I wondered about Pleiadian when I hear some things about their beauty, and her
Wow.
beauty was amazing. So I'm not sure,
So, so this obviously answered that question for me. So it wasn't like some dreamish state. It was like a person's there with you. And when you saw those beings, they were like, I'm awake, I'm aware, I'm present.
I had been awakened by the storm, and I'd sat up and I was thinking, who do I go? I need somebody, but where do I go? And who's the babysitter? And I had a lot of questions in my little head, and I was scared to move.
Wow.
But when she came and sat with me and touched me, she was real.
Wow.
Flesh, just beautiful. And anyway, so then she did something and she floated away, but I never forgot it.
Hmm.
And then I had another experience at that same age in Alaska. We had a door that was like split, half would open, and top and bottom would open. And I don't know why there was no screen door, but I remember just the top and the bottom. And my dad had the top open, and I was sitting at the table, and 10 feet out the door was a cherry tree. And it must have been early spring, when the cherries or whenever the cherries come out in Alaska. And I looked out, and there was a man bear. He was brown, a little bit of red. He was about, when I think now as an adult and really look that scene over repeatedly under, like I said, QHHT and other things, I would guess he was 8 foot.
And this is
But
coming from a portal, you said? Like you saw something open up like a portal door? Is that what just make sure I didn't miss that, or just showed up?
No, he was, I just was at the table maybe playing, and I looked up, and he was eating cherries from the tree, reaching up into the tree, filling his mouth with cherries. And he and I locked eyes, and he smiled at me. And I'm in love. I love animals. I'm still 74 years old, and that's what I do for a living on the side, is I sit for all my friends as animals, dogs, horses, donkeys. Haven't had pigs and cows yet, but I can do it. Anyway, yeah, he smiled at me, and it was like a familiar face to me. Now, maybe he was involved in that experience previous, because that was the first experience with the lady. I'm not sure. All I know is I was headed out the door to go give him a hug, and I had the door open and I had 3 steps out, and then all of a sudden my father grabbed me literally by the seat of my pants, slung me up into the air, and slammed the door, you know. And from that moment on, I have been sort of gifted to have had many experiences with the Sasquatch beings, but that's the one that is the most in my heart, the most memorable.
Wow.
And the first. And then may I also throw in during QHHT with Dr. Melanie Barton Bragg, she brought some of that up on my craft visits, and 2 of my onboard visits had Sasquatch, the same brown Sasquatch being. So I'm feeling like he might be one of my guides.
Wow.
Native Americans say that can happen. If I had a totem, he would be at the bottom of my totem, I suppose. Anyway, yeah. So yeah, I've had quite a few experiences, even recently here.
Yeah, I saw some of the film, and I'll definitely get to that. One of the questions I wanted to ask is describing the lady that you saw. Was she very familiar human wise? I see Pleiadians, or was there something that also really made her very distinct compared to us as human beings on Earth? Like, can you give her a little description?
Her skin was very pale,
Okay.
very smooth, very soft, and her eyes were bigger than ours. Her eyes were beautiful green. I mean, green, beautiful, but bigger. Not quite twice of ours, but almost, like maybe 1.5 or a half bigger. But there was no doubt she was eyes. You know, that's what you went into when you saw her.
Wow.
So that's paler skin. Of course, it was Alaska. Maybe I was pale.
Yeah, I know you probably yeah. I've always wanted to visit Alaska just because of the time and how like, you know, longer days or shorter days, and I'm just curious to see. Well, I wonder what's going to do to my brain. I'll probably freak out because like I can't take this uncontrollable light, dark. I don't know. So wow. One of the things I want to ask you is going with the crafts. Can you go more details? What's been the most ones that have been really stuck with you, that's been the most what do you call it, interactive? With there moments where it was also a bit, and when I say this, I don't want to be a typical like scary and so forth, but something that maybe was concerning, where there's no concerns, because you hear different stories from people regards to their interactions with the beings?
I first of all want to say that every time I've had an interaction with any of these experiences, whether it be Sasquatch, whether it be ET, whether it be ghosts, which I've had quite a few, all of them have been beautiful. None of them put me in fear. Now they say, well, you know, they can block your mind, they can this, they can that. Maybe that's true. But being familiar and 2 different times having the same beings on craft years and years apart made it more like familiar and friendly, and I never had any fear from it. But I'll start here. When I was 9, we lived in Tampa, Florida, just 3 blocks away from Busch Gardens, and it was, you know, quiet, small neighborhood back in those days. And so I'm 9 years old, and my mother it was 3 girls that lived. My mother raised my sister and I alone for many years, and she had a break-in one night, and the man, whoever broke in, took a kitchen knife from you know, steak knife, sharp knife, into her bedroom and put it on her dresser, and she sleeps only in her underwear. So she was pretty aghast when she found that out. And then he wandered to the house and took our laundry, feminine laundry, and laid it around the house. And thank God he didn't wake up, because, but he left. So she had 3 bolt locks. And when I say bolt locks, they're not the little things. These were big bolt locks put on each door.
Right.
And you had to go down into the ground, one straight across and one up in the top, plus the key lock. So we had 4 locks on the front and the back door. So one night I'm going to bed, all is well and normal, and I know the age because that's the year we moved into the house. And right outside my window was a big, beautiful oak tree. So suddenly it's morning and I'm hearing my mom screaming for me, where are you? What do you mean, where am I? And I'm waking up and I realize I'm outside. I'm under the oak tree. I have my quilt that my grandmother made me laid out as if I had made my bed and a pillow under the oak tree with me. And I hear my mom unlocking the bolts. And I'm thinking, how the heck did I get out here? How did I get out here?
Right.
And so my mom opens the door and, what are you doing out here? And she thought I crawled out the window, but the windows in Florida in those days were little tiny glass jalousie. They called them jalousie windows. And there's no way I could have done that.
Right.
There's just no. So I never forgot that. But when I sat up, when she was calling me and I sat up, I had this overall feeling, mind, body, and whatever else, of I feel good. But I felt good, so good that I realized it. I'm feeling so good. I didn't understand that,
Wow.
And I thought to myself, well, maybe sleeping out under the stars and outdoors does that. I don't know. I did try that a couple times back under the oak tree, but no, I didn't get that experience again. So whatever went on, they did an improvement for me, in my opinion. Cool. And with QHHT, it was a gray, about a 5-foot gray with 3 little guys behind him that were also grays, but a little bit different. That he held my hand. We were like old friends. And here's the kicker. When I'm on craft, I can leave my body anytime I want to. And they're trying to do tests on me, and I'm leaving my body, and they want me in my body, and I'm curious because I've always been very curious. And I'm flying around the craft, and they can see me. They know I'm out of body, and my little grays get very impatient with me. And after the 3rd time of him asking nicely, sternly, I did get back in my body, and then I have a little bit of not remembering too much. But what I do remember is he passed a sort of a rod over me, I remember especially over my throat and then over my ovaries. And now I'm 9 years old, okay?
Yeah.
So while I'm flying around, I see 2 little children sort of to my, where if I'm on the gurney or whatever they had me on, paralyzed, I would say my body wasn't moving, although I didn't feel it was paralyzed because I wasn't in my body. But anyway, I felt a little boy about 4, sort of where my shoulder would be. And I couldn't quite turn, when I was in my body, I couldn't turn to look to see too much. I could just get a little glimpse. And a little girl that was about 2, down towards where my feet would be. They were both sitting, just sitting. And the little girl never quite turned her face for me to see more than like profile.
Yeah.
But for some reason I said, that's me. That's me. That little girl looks just like me. And I just kind of felt some kind of that's me. And I didn't understand that.
And you're in physical form, though. You're still in your physical form.
Oh, yes. Okay. Well, yeah, because by that point, he asked me to get back in my body, but
Gotcha.
I still wouldn't down yet. I don't know how long they do put me out when they do. But at this point, they hadn't shut me down. So I'm in my body for him because he's my friend, or I think feeling that way.
Yeah.
Very familiar friend. And but the little girl really took my heart. I'm like, I'm too young to have a child, but she sure looks like she could be my child. I'm 9. So then I think many other thoughts over these years, was I cloned? Were they cloned? Was that a clone? Was that my child? Did they take eggs at birth? Did they take, how do they do this? I don't know. I don't understand that.
So has there been any explanation on what the test that these experiences you're having? They're doing these tests. I guess you call it astral projection out of your body, but they want you back inside your body. Has there been any explanation on the purpose of what they're doing, what they're trying to accomplish? Has there been any of those things shared with you from these beings?
For the longest time, I had to battle my sort of like religious dogma, only more like more like with government dogma, if you understand what I mean.
I do.
I often battled, am I on the gray side? Am I against humanity because I'm cooperating? Do I feel guilty? Should I, how do you take that? And then on the other hand is the love and the feelings and and they did give me a telepathic message that it's for humanity. It's for a much bigger, better reason. And they, like I said, I have no pain, no memories of any fear whatsoever. And I've seen so many of these beings, and I think that's why I saw them at 4, is because my life has been filled with these different beings, and I've never had fear yet. I mean, I haven't had any darkness. I haven't had any demonics.
Knock on wood. Here's another question for you, because I've heard of this. Has there been any fan members, maybe somebody who's had these experiences, like, because you hear about generational, right? That this is a generational thing at times. Have you had any, like, family members had this experience as well, generationalists?
No,
Okay.
no. As far as, well, it's hard to say for sure, because my mother, bless her soul, was an alcoholic from age 12 till 76 or so, just before she passed.
Right.
So who knows
Okay.
what experiences she may have had. She was a very beautiful, very bright lady, but she had always had that addiction. And
That's interesting you say that, because you never, and again, I'm not saying this is fact. Some people, maybe, no matter how positive experience can be, it can be shocking for people. And maybe sometimes they cope with those things. And again, I'm not saying that's what your mom did, but that maybe, who knows? Who knows? Some people handle things differently.
well, that's what I wonder. I
Yeah.
never could, even when I talked to her, I took care of her last 15 years with 3 different cancers. I was her caregiver, and we got very close. And I asked her, what do you think caused you to start drinking? Well, all my family did, and
Yeah.
things like that.
Right.
And in the old days in Georgia and North Carolina, sure they did. They had moonshine. So there was that. And then she didn't have any real severe traumas, nothing that I could put a finger on, unless it came over from a past life. I don't know, but she admitted to me, which kind of, I guess it was her way of asking for forgiveness. She says, I drank through both my pregnancies. Thanks, Mom. And she smoked cigarettes. So I don't know. It didn't seem to harm us. We're doing quite well.
No, you seem very, I mean, when you said your age, I was like, I don't think you looked at it like that at all. And you're pretty aware to me. So maybe it was the moonshine, that a special ingredient that just kicked awareness. And I have no idea. Maybe you're abducted because, like, man, she survived moonshine. We got to check this girl out. No, shoot, man.
Yeah, I survived a few things.
Yeah, right. She's pretty indestructible. We should check this girl out, man. Maybe take some DNA and combine it with ours and start, maybe she's a good ally. But I'm all starting bad rumors, but I'm gonna get abducted and like, stop talking like that. Anyways, now I'm just rambling. So with these experiences and so forth, do you still continually have these experiences being on the craft? Has that slowed down over the years? What's it been going on presently for you?
Can I skip to when I was 16?
Yes, please. No, keep going. You keep sharing your story. Forgive, I'm a very inquisitive person, so please keep going. Sorry about that.
Well, I can take up too much time, or I don't want to run over, because there may be other.
You're good. You're totally good. Go for it.
So when I'm 16, my best friend and my mom had married this guy that was an alcoholic. So out I went, and my best friend had a baby young. So her and I rented a little tiny cracker box house in the middle of an orange grove. Okay. I guess it was a worker's home at one point. And we rented it, and we stayed there. Now it's just a little bit north of Tampa, in a town called Lutz. Some people know that area, some don't. And it's off the road, very quiet and remote. And the orange groves were huge, maybe I don't know how many acres, but huge. I used to walk through them all the time. Right. Anyway, I'm sitting, there's a little window by the toilet, and I'm sitting going potty on the toilet, and I look out and I see something dark coming just over, I don't know if you see my hand, just over the top of the orange trees, real slow like that. Mm-hmm. And it's huge, but I can't see it clear because I have this tiny little window I'm looking out. So I run outside, pulling the clothes up as I run, and I'm hollering, Vicky, come outside. Oh my God, there's a UFO, right? Mm-hmm. That much I knew. So we get outside, and we have a pond, a little pond there that I guess, I don't know what it was for, maybe animals at some point. But so we had this little pond, and we went out by the pond, and we started doing, hey, we're here. And we're jumping up and down, and we're waving at this craft. Now, what I see coming at me is so big, I can't see all the way around it. It is so big, I can't see the top. But what I do see as it's coming is appeared like a glass viewing screen window, like the whole front of it was like glass, and I could actually see in and see movement and see things. And it's coming very slowly, dead silent, by the way, everything around, no animals, no frogs, nothing, everything went dead silent. And it came about, I can't judge in the air, but like I said, whatever the height of orange trees were, maybe about 5 feet or 10 feet barely above them, came right up over us to where we could see, where like it stopped right in front of us, and it stopped. And both of us were looking at each other with our mouths open. We thought, uh-oh, look what we did by waving at them. But what I do remember consciously, I looked at there was like a man in the center, sort of like, I felt like he was the captain, and this was like a tour craft.
Right.
Of I could already see many different beings again. Many looked like us. Many were in military uniforms, but not like ours. And then I actually did see military that did look like ours in, the uniforms. So I looked up and I see this beautiful man. To me, my first thought was Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
He had white hair and white skin and was wearing white. Mm-hmm. I thought I remembered purple and gold trim, but I can't verify that for sure. White is what I do remember. And my thought was, oh my God, purity. That was the word, purity. And we looked eye to eye, and I could see other beings all around. Like I said, thousands, because this thing is so big, I can't even see how big.
The same diverse beings you saw as a child, would you say?
Yes, but more human type beings.
Interesting.
Okay. More that resembled us, but I felt like we're a little shorter. Some were a little shorter, like maybe 5 feet, and instead of 6 and 7 feet, or whatever. Right. But anyway, this gentleman and I that locked eyes, and I thought, my first thought was Jesus. My second thought was purity and the love I felt. Then Vicky, my dear friend, and I don't remember anything else. We woke up the next day with horrible headaches. Oh my God. And she had to go to work, and I got up, fought the headache, and went to the store and got a newspaper. Somehow I had to look through almost every newspaper that they had on the stand until I found the one that had a little article. So I went home, and when it left, now, oh, by the way, when this happened, broad daylight, the sun was going down, but it was fully light, okay? The sun was past, it was getting cooler in Florida. You know how it does that when the sun's going down. Broad daylight when we saw it. Now, there was an article that was in the paper from the 3 professors at the University of South Florida's planetarium, which was it was about 2 or 3 miles from where we were. It had evidently floated in front of them, over by them, real slowly. And they witnessed it, and they did hand drawings of it. And they described it cigar shaped, which is what I was feeling that I was seeing, nothing round, something long, so long I couldn't see the end. Anyway, they described it as long as 3 football fields in length. And the time on it was something like 10:44 or something to that effect.
Wow.
So there may be 3 hours of time missing. I don't know. I have no way to pull that back yet.
Interesting.
Yeah. Now, Vicky, she remembered it. She didn't remember it going over any more than I did. And I've asked her, she's still my friend. She's in Tennessee, God bless her, raising some beautiful Tennessee walking horses and doing good things with her life. And I asked her one time, I asked her twice, could you write down what you do remember? And she hasn't yet. So I don't know, but that's what I remember. And I do remember under hypnosis, opening the doors and seeing myself in the craft. And I knew that Vicky was on craft with me. Although I couldn't see her, I felt like she might be in another room. And then we can go into that. I don't know if you want to go into all that now.
No, what we could do, here's what we're going to do is we're going to put a pause really quick, and take a quick little break. And everybody we will, once I'm in front of the damn button here, where's it at here? The recording. Oh, there it is. Good Lord. I switched from Zoom to StreamYard and so forth. But anyways, we'll be right back and then we'll continue that story. I want to talk a little more about that. Hold on. Hold tight. Hey, everybody. We are back. I had to do a little bit of tech work. Surprised I can do it. I have a brain still that works. Well, I hope so. I do have a full set of hair, so something's good happening, I think. Anyways. Enough about me, because I am just such a narcissist. That's what happens when you're raised by a bunch of hairstylists. Back with Kathleen here, and I want to pick her from the story. I believe you was with your friend and the ship that you saw and all these beings and like a Jesus-like figure, and really want to pick that up and continue your thoughts on top of that and capture that flow. Okay,
I did not yet describe what it looked like, so how about we go there?
Yeah, go for it, please. Yeah, go for it.
It was kind of a flat black, and I knew it was a metal, but I could not see any rivets or whatever you called any seams. It was solid. It seemed like just one smooth, continuous piece of whatever this. It was a light flat black, not real dark, sort of almost like charcoal or a gray, dark gray, but not silvery, not shiny, and like I said, I was shocked because there's what's putting, I grew up near MacDill Air Force Base, and I know airplanes. I went to all the air shows and had a lot of fun, and this thing was so different. I caught so many things that was, I knew it was off planet from somewhere. I just had no clue. And so, like I said, I could only see down a certain amount of one side as it approached, and there were lookout windows along the centers of the cigar shape. And then, like I said, I must have only seen hardly anything, because if it was as big as 3 football fields, I can't imagine. Yeah. I just can't imagine. Again, dead silent, no air stirring, nothing happening. It's just as if it had its own little floating energetic world, magnetic world. I mean, I don't know, I don't know the words. I'm not scientific, but yeah, it was. So anyway, it was one of the greatest experiences of my life. The funny thing is, I told very few people. All my experiences, even from age 4, I kept to myself. Mm-hmm. I didn't share them. I just didn't share. There's a couple things I did share with my family, but mostly I just was in amazement, and I thought, oh my goodness, what a blessing for me, and I just put it away in the storage unit of my brain, right, until in my 60s when I was abducted, which was my last and my wake up. Well, not my last. I won't say my last. The one that woke me up into my spirituality and putting all of these things together finally, and pulling them out of the separate boxes I had them in, and getting rid of religious dogma. All of the above helped me get to an understanding.
Awesome. So when you saw this, going back to the craft, did other people, was there any, I mean, that's a pretty big craft, and and I know 3 Links football, I played football, so that's 900 feet at least, right? And was there any reports on that? Was it kind of hidden? Was there a talk of town about it? Was it something that was just more for you to see? Yeah, can you share that?
There was very short and sweet news clips. I'm not even sure if we watched TV or had a TV in that little place. To be honest, we were goers and doers all the time.
And this is years ago, right? How old were you again? I'm sorry.
I was 16.
Yeah, 16. And it's not like social media where people are just capturing craft. So yeah, I can see where that could be possibly suppressed per se, right? Maybe in that sense.
I'm just very thankful I had the intuition to go to the store and try to find a newspaper. Yeah. Because that verified things for me. And one of the professors, his daughter and I bumped into each other when I'm in my 50s, mm-hmm. and we became very close. And then I've lost track of her. I know her last name was Williams, and I'm just kind of blank on her first name. But her father was one of the professors.
Wow.
And she was from, I think, Alabama. She had a real cute Southern accent.
Oh, wow.
Arkansas, one of the A states, Arkansas, Alabama. I think Alabama. Anyway, so let's talk about coincidence, that I ran into somebody who knew the story because her father had witnessed that. Darn, I lost track of her.
No. And what are the odds of synchronicity, right? Hey, everybody. Chris Lopez from Mountain of Truth.
If you're looking to improve your health, both physically and mentally and spiritually, there is a new program out there called Mind, Move, Manifest, M3 from Matt Morgan. Right now, he has a deal, which is a 6-week training to share the importance of mindset in health and fitness journey. He has added 12 of their personal training sessions, either with him or remote, via FaceTime, Zoom, 2 per week that are normally $35 each, 6 one-on-one coaching sessions, 1 per week, from his mindset coaching that are normally $125 each. And he is adding his $30 meal planning and workouts coaching program, the M3 Dream Body, with all the recipes and meal plans by calories and macros, and workouts that he will teach you how to do anywhere, anytime. That package usually is $1,200, knocked down to $500. So join today with M3 and set your body free.